Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Talking Triathlon. James Bale, who is my co-host, is the guy not talking right now. If you're watching on youtube.com/Talking Triathlon, is with me. My name is Tim Ford, if you're new here. Jimbo, it is a special week of the podcast. The wait is over. It's Ironman World Championships week. How are you, mate?
I'm good. I'm actually, yeah, really good. I'm really excited. I think there is something about the gravitas and the weight of Kona week that that feels different to leading into a world championship for Nice, let's say. As amazing as Nice was, there is some association in my mind with this sport and Kona that makes me go, oh yeah, here we go. This is going to be interesting. Whether or not it will be is yet to be seen.
It's it's funny because I know exactly what you mean. So I've been to Hawaii twice, once personally, once for work, or the other anyway. And it's great, but the last time was fairly full on, and I was quite happy not to be there last year. I'm quite happy not to be. In fact, this will be the third year I'm not in Kona, and I'm happy that I'm not there. But this week, seeing the pre-race footage and seeing like people swimming out, I mean, I am getting a little bit of. I wouldn't mind being there actually. I feel like it'd be pretty good to be there right now. So, I mean, you're right. It certainly doesn't have the same build up as Nice did, but I wonder, and I'm not. Trust me, guys. Listen, we're going to talk about Kona this week. Kona, 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 Kona. But I do wonder if the reason we're both so high on Nice is the fact that it did sort of sneak in, like it was a bit underwhelming. So therefore, it's a bit of a surprise that it was as good as it is. Like I feel like Kona has this weight of expectation, which, obviously, what are we talking, like 30, 40, 50 years or something of the history of it now. Maybe we do always go into this race. I mean, we've been hyping this race up all year anyway. Do you think that maybe there is a bit too much hype or expectation on its shoulders? Nah.
No, I mean, I think triathlon always has the ability to let us down, mate. So if we, in if the worst case, is that we just lead into this race with a load of hype and it does fizzle out and not become the race we want it to be. But then at least we got the hype, I think. At least we got to enjoy this bit. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think we've got a race on our hands for multiple reasons, which we'll get into a bit later. But I think I'm very excited for the lead into this. Um, I'm trying to navigate in my head that I've got a prior commitment on Saturday that might mean that I have trouble designating all of my attention to the race, but I'll do my best to work my way around that.
Well, the good thing is if you can't do it live on Saturday, you can always do it Sunday. You just will not be allowed to go on social media for like literally 24 hours, full blackout.
Yeah, yeah. Or look at my phone in any way because there will be nigh on 1,000 messages in our WhatsApp group from
Oh,
people.
you've got to be unsubscribing from that. You need to remove that app from your phone. Like, literally, just no apps. It's just a phone. That's the only icon you're allowed on your phone for the weekend. And then
Yeah.
I,
Just the
I, I
emergency symbol, just in case.
now traditionally I think Hawaii works pretty well for me because from a time zone, Hawaii is only like 2 hours ahead of Australia, but like a day behind.
No, no, I counter you that, mate. No, no, it doesn't. Because what it does then is it takes up your whole day and impacts your ability to do your training and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Hawaii works perfectly for us because the race starts at 5:30 in the evening and you can just have a long night watching the race, staying up. I mean, you finish 1, 2, 3 in the morning, but that's perfect because you've got your entire day to do your training, to do all this stuff, to do your admin, and then you just hunker down at about 5 o'clock with some snacks, bit of a takeaway, maybe a non-alcoholic beer, and before you know it, the race is over and it's tired and time to go to bed.
I remember years ago. Oh God, again, God, back in my day when I was a decent triathlete, I think we're probably talking 2019. I think 2019 was the last. So for our non-Australian listeners, there's a brilliant 70.3. It was the 2016 World Championships. It's called Sunshine Coast 70.3. It's held in Mooloolaba. And I remember the race was the same weekend. It was 2019, so it was the same weekend as the Nice World Championships where Gustav Eden won the men's race. I think who won the women's? It was probably Daniela Reef off the top of my head. I'm guessing. I mean, big. Imagine going down a risk and saying Daniela Reef won a world title at that point. But the Sunny Coast race was the Sunday, the same Sunday as Nice. But because of the time zone, it started like the middle of the Australian afternoon. And I remember saying to Ironman at the time, because I was working in the sport, there's the surf club where everybody goes to after the race. Why don't we get them to put on the big screen the 70.3 World Championships? Because everyone will want to watch it. Like, talk about an engaged audience. Everyone there drinking's a triathlon. They're going to want to watch the World Champs. They're like, no, won't do it. I'm like, what a missed opportunity. Like, what a like perfect storm of situation where you'd have had a few thousand triathletes all frothing after they've just done this beautiful 70.3 race in, one of
What
the
was their
most,
rationale for saying no?
I think it probably would have involved just a slight bit of effort, and they're just like, fuck that, can't be bothered. Like, I genuinely don't know, but I did think even if I hadn't been at the pub, imagine if in like that the recovery area or something, they just had a big screen with the race on. Man, you would have. Yeah. I still don't think we have ever had that sort of opportunity where you can actually go somewhere to watch the race. I think it'd be so cool, but yeah, very rarely will you have that many triathletes in the same. I can imagine you go to like there's a big casino in Sydney called Star City, and it's quite a good place to go watch live sport because they've kind of got like a theater with the big. It's almost like a cinema, right? But with booze. And I've been to so many live sport events to watch or watch them live. I can't imagine the triathlon being on. You go there, and there's like six people in this room. It's like 3,000 people. Be like, hey,
A
oh
casino to watch sport
yeah,
with booze. Do you remember when we were in Las Vegas and how hard it was to get a beer in that casino?
I fucking hated Las Vegas so much.
Yeah, it wasn't good, was it? It wasn't good. So how are you anyway, mate? How's your training and racing and all of that? Are you racing? Do you race?
I don't apparently don't race anymore. No, I'm back to proper train. I've got my sights set on Tauranga half in January. I'm doing Singapore half marathon in December. I'm going to go and do New Zealand 70.3 in March, and then I'm doing Oregon 70.3 in July next year. So the racing is back. I'm getting in shape, doing TT efforts on the bike. My swim has gone to absolute shit, mate. Like I'm shocked at how bad my swim has got after 2 weeks out of the water. It's horrific.
Why?
Don't know. I honestly couldn't. I don't know, but it's very depressing. It'll come back. It always does. I know, but yeah, things are good. Getting excited.
What's the
Weather's warming
big
up.
race then at the moment?
For me, Oregon. Like I was meant to race Oregon this year, delayed it to next year, and yeah, that's the big one. That's the big goal race. And I mean, every time I race, I want to do well, but I just need to get back in. I lost the love. So I need to get the love back, mate. So I wouldn't mind doing a few little ones. There's a great series in Sydney called the Hills Tri, and I wanted to do a few of them this year. And every single race until January, there's a clash. Every single one of them. And I'm like, God, damn it. But
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, I
you?
mean, I'm finding that at the moment. I'm planning my 2026, and every time I find a race I want to do, I find that it's on the same weekend as something I've already looked at, or it's a juggle, it's a balance.
Well, if people also want to balance things and can't watch the race, but they want to keep updated this weekend while the race happens, head to patreon.com/talking triathlon, where you can join up for $5 a month. Gets you bonus shows, which we will do probably next week. We'll probably do like a bonus show post race reflection of Kona. You also get the WhatsApp group, which will honestly, I'm going to try to take, you can take a screenshot because you're not going to be, there'll be over 1,000 messages. So yeah, if you guys really want to discuss the race with people, head to patreon.com/talking triathlon. It is the best, even if you just join up for this month, just to be in there for the world champs and then piss off again, you'll still get all the bonus content we recorded in the past. You can join up for 1 month, get like the 30 episodes that are in there, enjoy the weekend. And then if you hate it, you can leave again. We won't hold it against you. It's a good weekend to be in there, Jimbo, isn't it?
I think, yeah, I really do. I really do think that being in that group amplifies the race experience more than anything other than being by the side of the road has for me. Because it's not like it's very different to being in the comments section of the YouTube video watching it or something, because where everything's just full on and slightly aggressive. Our WhatsApp group is really engaging, supportive, fun, friendly, and yeah, it's a good place to be.
I like that there's actually not been a whole lot of agreement in there about who's going to win this weekend, but it's never like, yeah, sometimes I've seen some crazy comments and I'm like, what the hell? But everyone's
I
good
have been
about it.
talking to lots of different people separately. In the group, I've been monitoring, but I've also just been like, because I can't fucking make my picks, mate. All week, we're meant to be the two guys who've got our picks, but I
Yeah.
can't. I can't pick it. And I've just been having these little conversations about who do you think's gonna like who are your Kona picks? But I can't. when we get to this point, the point in the episode where I have to make those picks, I will almost be making them on the fly because I cannot make my mind up. I have thoughts,
Okay.
but I can't decide who's going to win.
I am so set in my pick for the win. It's crazy, and then the rest is a little bit less certain for me. But for people who aren't aware, aren't patrons or haven't been using this, there's a new fantasy league website called Endurance Picks. It's where we host the Talking Triathlon League. It's fun. It's not the same as what used to be because you don't just get to pick. This one you can pick five people and then you got a budget. And I think we don't necessarily understand how the points work, but the better placed your five athletes go, the more points you make, and it's a bit of fun. But it's been really challenging because there's a budget, right? So you can't just go, I'm going to pick the top five. You can you can do what I did, where I went real big with my like the top three athletes I was sure I wanted, and then you sort of make do with the others, or you can try to even it out across the thing. But I have to admit I sat there and like tried a few scenarios to try to work, and I went, no, fuck it, I'm just going to go for my top three, blow my budget, and then I'll just pick two of the cheaper athletes to fill the
Yeah,
gaps,
and hope that
basically.
they finish higher than other people's cheaper athletes, basically, is what
Yeah,
you're going for, isn't it? Yeah.
pretty much.
I haven't done that yet, and every time I go to do it, I can't find the link again, so I have to put a note in the group
Just
saying, "Can someone say?"
just all I do is just go to endurancepicks.com and it comes up, and then because you've logged in, I'm automatic. It's very easy for me. So
Interesting. All right, but yeah, I can't. I we'll see. I'm thinking. I've done a lot of like I said, individual chatting with people. Andy's given me his picks. Lizzie's given me her picks. Loads of our patrons individually have given me their picks. I've been monitoring the group and watching the screenshots. I have no idea what you're thinking. I can guess what you're thinking because I kind of I think I know what kind of man you are when it comes to that one person you think is nailed on for the win.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how we go.
I didn't do too well in Nice, to be honest. So don't
You
quote me
finished
too
behind
much.
me in Nice.
Weren't we on equal? Weren't we on equal points?
Yeah, yeah, but I won for some reason.
Aerodynamics.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, I feel like we should probably, because we've also got Supertri to talk about this week. Not that I want to talk about it too much, but I feel like we should let's get Kona out of the way and then we'll tack on Supertri then. How does that sound?
Yeah, I reckon we do Superdry first. Just get that out of the way,
All
and
right, let's
then
do that then.
and then
Let's
and then slide through Kona for the rest of the episode. Otherwise, it'll feel like an addendum at the end.
Supertri Toulouse happened over the weekend. It was the grand final. Yeah, it happened. Did you get the chance to watch it, James?
Yeah, I saw bits and pieces of it. I thought the men's race with Csongor Lehmann was fairly by the numbers. The man did what he needed to do. He took the win. Um, the overall results. Hang on a second.
Csongor Lehmann first place. Was it Vasco second or Vasco was third? No, Vasco was third. So it was another start. It was Seth Ryder in second, and it
Yeah,
was
so Song Lehmann was in first place, Seth Ryder in second, Vasco Lasser in third, Ricardo Batista in fourth, and Ian Pennekamp in fifth. The overall standings leaving Song Lehmann in first, Vasco Velasquez in second, Ricardo Batista in third. Um, I mean, it was looking like Songa was going to take the win, and he kind of did fairly well. There was no real drama from that man, was there?
so I turned this on. I was watching another movie that finished, and then I turned it on when it was just I think as they came out of the water on the third leg. So I haven't watched the full race in the men's race. As people would have heard last week, I wasn't very happy about this race after the dramas that I had trying to source athletes for the final round. It was an absolute disaster, but it looks like it was a pretty straightforward sort of event. The only little bit of drama that really happened in the men's race was Reese Venison, sorry, the young, super runner that we've seen who's racing for Stars and Stripes a couple of years ago, and consistently was actually in a really good position. Now, Reese won his first World Cup event this year, so he's certainly, making those strides to becoming a, much stronger athlete. And there was this little group, and the rain started, and Reese Venison went down. Just looked like his back wheels slipped out, to be honest. Didn't look like anything too serious or whatnot. And Taylor Reid, again, an athlete that I have so much time for. I'm a big Taylor Reid fan. It was really unfortunate to get caught up. So then suddenly the gaps blew out, and then it very quickly became the front of the race was very spread out. The gaps were quite large, and yeah, it sort of became a bit of a dead rubber in the end. There was, the fact that the guy in the front, I think, even had the short shoot, and it just sort of made it completely uneventful. Vasco, I probably would have thought would run down a bit more of a gap, but didn't. The gap held strong, and Csongor Lehmann crossed the line to win the thing, and not just win the thing, but won the overall series. And very very strong performance by Csongor Lehmann. Very happy to see. I mean, I would have loved to see a Crown athlete do it, but I think that yeah, I like to see these sort of up and comers get that success, and he's certainly a very strong athlete, and very deserving winner.
Yeah, good on him. Um, Unfortunate for you all round, really. You got a second and a third. Wasn't enough to make much difference.
No, it was also rubbed a little bit of salt in the wound to see Vincent Louis there giving thoughts on the commentary, but not racing for us. That was also a
Why wasn't he racing?
great question. I wish I knew the answer.
Okay, so it wasn't a an injury or an illness. It was just didn't race it,
Once you
but
go
was part
long, you
of the
don't get back,
commentary.
I guess, is probably the answer. I don't know. I mean, I honestly would have loved to have seen Vince race it, but yeah, I think he's fully committed to going long now and chose not to. But yeah, that was it. And then that was the men's race. Yeah, women's race. Jeanne Lehair, superstar. What a champion.
Yes, indeed. Jeanne Lehair took it out. I mean, the women's race was a bit more dynamic, a bit more of a fight. Georgia Taylor Brown putting in a big dig at the start. Um, and then Jeanne Lehair missing her short shoot come the
Yeah.
end, which whether that was intentional or not, I haven't heard, but I quite like the idea in my head that that was just a little final flex at the end to be like, I've got the run anyway.
I don't need this. Yeah.
I don't need no short shoot motherfuckers. Took out the win ahead of everyone else. Jahan Leher um, in first place. Bear with me a second. Ahead of Lionel Perrault in second, Jess Fulgar in third, Georgia Taylor Brown in fourth, and leaving the overall standings with Jeanne Lehair in first, Lionel Perrault in second, Georgia Taylor Brown in third. And what did that do to the teams? The teams that had Podium Racing in first place, Crown Racing in second, Brownlee Racing in third, and Stars and Stripes Racing in fourth. Podium Racing with 355 and Crown Racing trailing behind with 301.
Yeah. Yeah. It was what it was. Jeanne Lehair, I'm not surprised. I think I expected Jeanne Lehair to win the
No.
thing from day one. Once I heard that she was the only real athlete committed to racing the full series and seeing how good she's been at WTCS, yeah, I've very much expected her to win. She is unmatched on the run. She is up there swim, up their bike, and unmatched on the run in Supertri at the moment. And not just that, I love Jeanne Lehair. Like, of everybody racing, again, I would have loved to see Georgia or another Crown athlete win the thing, but Jeanne Lehair fully deserved it and raced so well. And again, committed to the series, which is something. Now, I know we sort of touched on it, but I do think that the thing we have begun to criticize T100 for a bit, the whole season-long narrative, or having the same roster of athletes or the contracts, whatever, which I don't think works for T100. I do believe works for Supertri. I like seeing the same 16 athletes racing each time, and this year we haven't seen that. So I'm very happy to see it won by an athlete who fully committed to the full thing and just showed up consistently. So yeah, Jean's having a great season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when an athlete has one of those seasons where it almost felt nailed on from the start, despite the racing that was happening and the dynamics that you saw changing, um, it felt nailed on. It's kind of got an air of Matt Hauser's season about it, this kind of absolute commitment to a cause and an objective, and going into this with a single-minded desire to win the Super Tri Series and doing it. And yeah, really, really impressive stuff. Um, and then congratulations on getting married as well.
Yeah, the engagement. What's your thoughts about a finish, a podium proposal, mate? I can see you doing that. That's
Uh,
something I could. That's something I could imagine you doing it someday.
no, it's an interesting one,
No.
because everybody has their um, everybody has an
Tastes?
opinion. I think that, whatever happens between them in their relationship, he I presume would have known that she would have liked that a lot and therefore has done it because he is a thoughtful man who doesn't want to tread on her moment. But from the outside looking in, for me, I my approach to life would be that is not the moment to go wading in and steal the thunder. But just because I think that does not mean that everyone else does. So there you go.
So at the end of it, though, Supertri 2025 is done and dusted. We are, Supertri starting what, 2017, 28, 2016? 20... it's been around for a while now, right? How are your thoughts? Where are you at in terms of your levels of appreciation for Supertri?
I mean, I have thoughts. I think they're great. I think the production is great. The racing is great. I think they need to shake it up a little bit though. You know how every now and again Supertry just is that magic eight ball, isn't it? That you need to give a shake to get a different answer out of.
Hmm.
Um, and I think it's reached that point where it needs that shake now because I'm not sure I'm a fan of the same format in every weekend's racing
Yeah.
because you start to see the same race, especially if you've got the same athletes in it. What Jeanne Lehair's done this year is brilliant, but it became a little bit predictable that she was gonna have the race that she had and then lean on that run at the end. I know the WTCS racing, whether sprint or Olympic, is the same race. I'm not unaware that 70.3s are the same, Ironman is the same, no other format shakes it up. But Supertry has set a precedent that we see changes and an interesting racing based on that. And I feel like they need to shake that race format a little bit sometimes. I loved it when you'd have, all right, what are we racing this weekend? Is it the enduro? Is it the triple mix? Is it this? Is it that? And off the back of that, you'd see different athletes excelling.
I fully agree with that. And the other thing that I was thinking while watching it over the weekend was I think the short shoot needs to be rejigged a bit because it's never really made a difference. Like it's there and it's like it's often just used by the person winner or the person like I don't feel like it's used enough. And I was trying to brainstorm some ideas about what I think you could do with it. And I'll run this by you. And I know you don't like to speculate, but I love the idea that athletes can steal short shoots. I was
A
thinking that,
podcaster that doesn't like to speculate. Useless bastard, basically. Yeah.
I mean, you said it, not me. Um, but I was liking the idea of like, imagine if you could steal a short shoot. Like, let's say an athlete earns the swim short shoot. They set the time, what amount? If you do a faster swim at another stage during the race, you can steal that short shoot back or something. I feel like, I don't know exactly what it is, but some sort of thing where you earn it and you lock it, but somebody can do something and steal it back. I thought that could be another like little layer of
Or
jeopardy.
somewhere where one of the team managers could make a decision to steal a short shoot off another team for a point sacrifice that wasn't quite as much as you'd get for a win.
Yeah.
So you could risk sacrificing some overall points, and that would create a really interesting dynamic because the team manager could fuck it. They could they could they could steal a short shoot, sacrifice some points. That athlete could then not win the race, and not only have you lost the points for the sacrifice, but you've lost the points for the win as well.
I mean, if you really wanted to get technical, there's that show, I don't even know if it's around it, but it was Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And they had like the three
Hey,
different, so you had the like
phone a friend. You could
50-50
have somebody ringing
phone
up
a
on the
friend,
run.
and then there was the audience vote. But what I mean is you could buy a short shoot, let's say, or you could steal a short shoot, whatever that is. But imagine if you could like force an athlete into the penalty box. Like, imagine if you could sacrifice points or something, and you could be like, Jeanne Lehair's 15 seconds ahead. Put her in the penalty box for 5 seconds. She's ready. You've got to go. I think that there could be some more stuff they could do to really mess with it. I mean, I've said it 100. I'd love to see them do a super trail race in a car park at night. I think that'd be so cool. Next to the water, up and down the car park, full of
What about a long shoot? Rather than the penalty box, you could you could
yeah.
you could somehow
Oh
say, right,
yeah.
she's got to take a long shoot.
Or you take a short shoot and you can give the X and the short shoot's two piece. So you get a shortcut, but then you add the time. So
Yeah.
you get the option of either a short shoot or you force somebody to take the long shoot. I like that idea. That's good. Look,
Mm.
we need to move on because there's this other big race we have to talk
Yeah,
about.
there's another race. But yeah, congratulations to everyone that raced in Supertri this year. They put on a great show. The broadcast was amazing. The team are great. The commentary's great. I've
Will's
got a lot of
excellent.
time and affection for that group of people, and they put on one hell of a series. But let's get some shaking going on in there.
Just one last thing I'll say is next weekend is WTCS and T100, and I think you might find Will McCoy's voice will be across the racing, so that could be good. I mean,
There
I
we
said
go.
it.
There you go.
It's Ironman World Championship time, James Bale. It is here. The race we
It is
are
indeed.
most excited about. We have spoken about this basically since the year started. I've been asking you for early year predictions about what's going to happen in Kona. Every time a female pro has raced, I'm like, so what do you think this means for Kona? And you've hated it every time. But now we can actually talk about the race. It's here. We've seen the
Yeah,
form.
and so far, it's Wednesday here. Is it Wednesday there?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. So far, we've had Julie Deron has pulled out.
Yep.
Els Visser is out,
I've heard that. Yep.
I think. Um, Holly Lawrence,
What?
is she out?
No, don't say this to me.
Hang on, what is
Which
the
tripole athlete?
um oh no, it's okay. It's okay. I'm on the tripole
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Instagram, and she's got a there's a highlight over her name. The tripole uses a code for different things. So Julie Deron is out, Els Visser is out, and then there's a mentions racing within 2 weeks out from race.
No,
And that's
came to Kona
Jodie
left,
Robertson,
but coming
and
back.
then Holly Lawrence came to Kona left but coming back,
What does
which
that
is
mean?
cool. So I fuck knows. Well, probably means she came to Kona left but is coming back.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for clearing that up for me. Mind blown.
I thought for a second it meant she was out. I shat the bed for a moment, but no, what I was going to say is it's Wednesday pre-race and we haven't had that avalanche of non-starters. I thought it was going to begin when we heard that Julie Deron was not racing. I thought that was gonna open the floodgates. But I know we've still got a couple of days left and it could still happen, but it's looking like a fairly healthy start list from where we sit right now. The curse of the podcast is going to kick in as soon as we finish recording. They're going to fall like dominoes, but we'll see.
I will admit that I had forgotten that Julie Darren was racing. So I went from not knowing she was racing to, oh, she's racing. So getting excited about her racing and then she pulled out. So it's been quite a
Yeah, and
like,
that was quite a quick process for you, wasn't it? Because
yeah,
we were in the WhatsApp group and someone said something and you went, "Oh yeah, Julie Darren," and within half an hour I was like, "Julie Darren's out." It was quite a quick turnaround.
exactly. So uh, the flame burnt bright, but did not burn for long for my
Mm.
excitement for Julie Darren racing. No, legitimately, I feel like she would have made a big impact on this race. So it is very upsetting that she will not be racing. I hope that everything is okay. Uh, the good news is only one more year in the back in Kona, so we don't have that 2 year thing that we've experienced in the past. So I'm still very excited about the race, but I am also nervous because yeah, the curse, not just the curse of the podcast, but the curse of World Championships, where it's not just the athletes that pull out, but it's the athletes that after the race we find out was sick, had a niggle, nursing an injury or something. I think we've spoken about the Kona flu a lot, about how it seems to go around to a lot of athletes and they always come out post race. I mean, you understand it, right? You look at some of these athletes, and you can normally tell a little bit, right? Some athletes look particularly thin or a little too lean, and that doesn't always mean a good thing. Like some athletes, it means incredible things. And I understand they're all always thin, and I'm not trying to comment on the body composition or anything of these athletes, but yeah, I feel like you see athletes push the envelope a little bit too far because of the significance of the race.
Yeah, anybody that's coming from the UK is fucked. If you've been in the UK for the last 3 to 4 to 5 weeks, then you ain't making that start line. But I think everyone's been sensible and stayed away from Plague Island, as it seems to be at the moment. Um, But yeah, I see. I know what you mean when you see a noticeable. Most of the time, I think what you mean is that, yeah, putting words in your mouth here is you get used to an athlete's aesthetic when they're looking like they're absolutely dialed in, and sometimes you just get to see them in these pre-race periods, and you think, oh, you don't quite look like yourself. And that's when you can normally tell if someone's a little bit ill or a little bit under the weather, or like you say, has pushed the envelope a bit far. But I think we're living in times now where there's a lot more knowledge around what is a sensible run-in and what isn't. And people are certainly this time of year avoiding the northern hemisphere like the plague, as I've already mentioned, because of the amount of illness we've got kicking around at the moment. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we see a really healthy start list and we don't see that tranche of people pulling out.
The other
I
fact,
am sorry, go
no,
ahead.
you go, you keep going. It's fine.
No, I was just going to say I'm really stoked for this race, and I want to. Do you remember when we were in St. George and just that period of what, 24 hours where the race just fell apart in front of us? We'd gone all the way out to America for this race, and it just everything just it
Yeah.
just became a different race entirely within 24, maybe even 12 hours before the start.
Where we were with somebody, whose house were we at when we found out that Alistair Brownlee wasn't racing? And we were like,
Beckergard.
mate, it was literally non-stop, just like this person's out, this person's out, I was like, you've got to be joking. Like, it was outrageous.
Yeah, it
And
really was. And I don't want to see that for this race. I want to see a healthy start list because I'm so keen for this race to play out as a race. And I think there's one athlete on this list. I mentioned in the group the other day, there's one athlete on this list that has the potential to make it a boring race, so to speak. And that may well be the case. And if we do see that play out, then it will be an exhibition in dominance
yep.
and an exhibition in quite how much of a class athlete that person is. But I'm really hoping that's not the case, and we see each athlete playing to their strengths. And I want to see a game of chess play out on the island.
So I put it to, so obviously people listening, if you are listening to this, there's a good chance you listen to triathlon podcasts, and it has been quite well documented, not on this podcast, obviously, but on others, that there's a lot of pre-race content out there this year in terms of triathlon podcasts. So I put it to our Patreon group this week. What specifically would they like us to cover to do things a little bit different, so we're not just having the same conversations that people have heard 100 times? And the thing that they said, Jimbo, I'm not sure if you saw this, but they actually said they'd like us to discuss different scenarios of how we see the race going, and then let's sort of create some scenarios. So let's say, I have my idea of what's going to happen in the race, and I'm sure you have your idea, but we could also come up with some, well, what if that doesn't happen, or what if
Can I
this?
guess what your idea about what's going to happen in the race is?
Okay, please, let's hear it.
'Cause I think what you see happening
Yep.
um, is Lucy Charles leading out the swim,
Okay.
extending on the bike, and then winning on the run. I think you see a fairly one-dimensional race where Lucy Charles takes the win
Look,
from the
there's
front,
truth.
I mean.
There's truth to what you're saying, but I don't think it's as clear cut as that for me personally. I think there's much more nuance to it than that. I
Nuance.
don't nuance. I don't think it's just going to be Lucy gone and nobody near her all day. I think that there's going to be somebody else with her for most of the day. Um, and I think that those two working together, because there's going to
And
be
that
two
someone
people.
will be Taylor Knibb, no?
Correct. I think we're going to see those two. Look, there'll be others. Again, we'll go through the list in a bit more, but I think that the two big ones will be those two together out of the swim, and I think they're going to work together on a bike. I feel like there's going to be a group trying to catch them that will fail to catch them on the bike, and then the run. What I see happening is the group behind doing what they can to catch up, not being able to catch Lucy, but probably catching Taylor. That's how I see it going. I wonder if, similar to what we've seen in Kona last year with the men, because you've always got to understand these athletes understand each other's weaknesses and strengths and everything. And you've also got to look at not just individual performances, but also how they've raced against each other and other very strong athletes. I feel like the athlete who's probably playing the scenarios in their head the most is Cat Matthews, because Cat Matthews has come second at how many world championships now, kind of like Lucy has in the past, has not performed in Kona. I understand that 4 years ago had that horrible accident in Texas. Then she came back 2 years ago, did not finish, I think, off the top of my head. I think she pulled out on the bike. But, not that long ago, I thought, Jesus, Kat's going to be pretty hard to beat. And then Laura Philipp ran 2:38 and smashed her in it, like beat her in Hamburg. And I believe that would have made Kat go, oh shit. Because Kat's such a swim, bike, run, exceptionally strong. Slight weakness in the swim, especially in this field, but one of the strongest cyclists out there, one of the strongest runners out there. Laura, I feel like, is comparable but has a better run, and I think that's in Kat's head. So therefore, you're gonna see dynamic shift, and then you've seen what Lucy's been doing at T100 races, which has just blown me away. I was so shocked by what Lucy did in London and then has backed up with her run in particular, but also riding with, these exceptionally strong cyclists. I don't see a weakness in Lucy. And I think that also means that the athletes like Kat and Laura know that that gap can't be too big because they're not going to shut it down. So what are they going to burn? Like, they have to balance bridge the gap on the bike, because there's going to be a gap out of the water, with not killing themselves so they can't back up the run. Like, I don't, maybe a few years ago you would have said, oh, they just need to get off the bike with a decent gap and they can probably run Lucy down. I don't think you can do that anymore. We've seen it happen with Taylor Knibb in the past, last
Yeah.
year. So that's where I'm like, that's the thing that I'm really fascinated about. But then the other thing, James, the big like grenade that you throw into this, that it's like, I fucking have no idea what this is going to do the race, is the Solve I Love Seth of it all. I genuinely
Yeah,
don't know what
agreed.
she's going to do. I think she could fucking rip this. She could tow them up. She could be with Lucy and Taylor. I don't know. I have no idea what she's going to do. And that's the like X factor, what's going to happen for me. But yeah, sorry, that was a very long way of me explaining what I think is going to happen with this race.
There are, yeah, Solveig Loveseg absolutely is that hand grenade. But there are, when you look at that start list, there are so many names that could also be that, because it's easy to say, oh, Lucy's going to be off the front with Taylor Knibb. Then there's going to be a pack chasing. They're not going to catch her, and then they're going to, and that's one way of looking at things. But there are so many other names that we haven't mentioned, because you mentioned Kat, you mentioned Laura Philipp, and then you've got other people in that top. You've got Chelsea Sodaro,
Hmm.
you've got um, Marjolaine Pierre,
Hmm.
you've got Anne Reichman, you've got India Lee, you've got Lotte Wilms, you've got so many other names, Holly Lawrence, who could have an impact on this race. Tamara Jewett, we haven't seen much from her recently, but she's there.
Hmm.
And I just, you're right. And there is a version of this world where I say, yeah, absolutely. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it play out the way you are expecting it to. Um, and Lucy's run is, people who say that she has a weakness on the run are simply wrong
Mm.
now, because she's an exceptional swimmer. We all know that. Like, front pack leading out the water swimmer.
Yep.
She's an exceptional biker. Her run may not be as exceptional as her swim and her bike, but it is still one of the best in the sport. And it would take it would take someone with an exceptional run to be within spitting distance of her to run her down, because it's not night and day. It is a really fucking good run being chased by a really, really, really good fucking good run who has to be slightly quicker. And the delta on that is significant. I think Lucy could win this, and I've just done my picks and dropped them in the group. Well,
I
I've done
saw
my pick.
that.
I
I saw
selected a
that.
group of athletes who I think, within the budget, who I think we could see do well. I couldn't afford within my budget to put Taylor Knibb in there,
Hmm.
and I've had to sacrifice Taylor as an athlete that I'm not gonna have in my five because I want and I think Laura Philipp is gonna win it.
Yep.
I think Lucy Charles-Barclay is gonna have a hell of a race.
Yep.
I put Solveig Losse in there because of the unknown,
Yep.
and I want her to excel. I've put India Lee in there
Good shout.
because of all of my of all of the athletes that could just have a day, and you could have that one race where you're like, fucking hell, she did it. I would love that to be India. And if that's gonna happen, because I've backed her for so long, I can't not have her on my list just in case that happens. Because if it were to happen and she wasn't on my list, I don't think I'd ever forgive myself. And then I've put Mel Brun on there because she got the fastest bike in Roth. She's not the best swimmer, but in order to make up some numbers, she's my cheaper athlete.
Yep.
She is an exceptional athlete,
Can I
and
ask?
she's going to come out behind everybody, fight her way back on the bike, and then she might earn me some points. She's the current duathlon world champion, long course.
Can I ask? Do you think because one thing that's sort of become out of vogue about talking about Kona was the experience. You know, thanks to the Norwegians in particular. It used to be like you don't just win on debut. It's you sort of have to earn the right to win on this island. And do you still think that there's merit in that? Like, do you factor in the experience of these athletes, or do you think it's irrelevant now?
I think it's still relevant because it's got such interesting and unique conditions. It's not as relevant as it was. I think when the sport was younger, the fields weren't as deep, and getting to those environments and getting experience in those environments was harder. I think, yeah, absolutely, it was more significant. I think now we live in a world where the sport is much more professionalized. Don't get me wrong, Kona's a very hot, unique, windy, intense place to race. I think it's less likely you're going to have that moment where you have to earn your right to race there, and more likely that you're going to find these athletes, someone's going to be like, "Oh, this really suits me," and it's be a surprise. And that's what I think might happen to somebody. I'd love to see Holly Lawrence do really well here. I really would. I'd love to see her because it's her first Ironman Kona, having come back from having kids as well. I would love to see her fit into this race and be like, oh, this really suits me. But if that's going to happen to anybody, I'd like it to be India.
See, the reason I ask is, and again, I know you know this, but I feel like something that is sort of forgotten a little bit with Lucy is I've just gone through her results to make sure I'm right. 2017, second place, Ironman Hawaii. 2018, second place, Ironman Hawaii. 2019, second place, Ironman Hawaii. 2022, second place, Ironman Hawaii. 2023, first place, Ironman Hawaii. I feel like we sometimes underestimate the experience that Lucy Charles has because she started racing this race so young. And the fact that we do not consider her like, one of those athletes who sort of, I feel like she's in her prime. I am I'm saying this mostly to catch myself because there's other athletes in this field that I don't think have the experience. That's not to say that they can, and I'm not picking on Kat Matthews because I mentioned her earlier, but as I said, Kat has raced this race once before, did not finish. And I think it is a very big ask to come out and beat athletes who are like, to your point, of the five athletes we could pick for the endurance picks, I didn't pick Kat Matthews. I still think Kat has the potential to win this thing. I still think Kat could potentially finish on the podium. I just feel like looking at the results this year, looking at the experience of the other athletes, and those reasons I said before, I think we could see Kat probably not podium. I understand that's a big call. I don't think we'll probably see.
Well, I
I,
mean, I've done a similar thing. I haven't picked Kat and I haven't picked Taylor. Um, those two athletes gave me the budget to pick the rest that I did. I only had four
yeah,
credits left come the end. So there's no world where I could have picked all the athletes that I think could podium. So I had to sacrifice two.
I feel like Laura Philipp is the other athlete. To me, Lucy Charles wins this race by like not in a long way, but in the sense that she's well and truly my favorite for this race. And I'd say my second favorite for the race is Laura Philipp. And again, I think that Laura's had bad luck in this race, but we've never seen. I mean, I think she's had, she's obviously won Nice so comfortably, and she's had a series of strong performances, not just here but around the world. I wouldn't be surprised to see Laura Philipp win it. I think there's a scenario where it does happen, but I just am because look, I said that it'll be Laura and Taylor off the front. I think, sorry, Lucy and Taylor off the front. I do think that, but I think they'll have company. Like, you look at those athletes in the swim. There's enough swim power for them to have other athletes who will be with them for maybe not the whole bike, but for part of it.
India, India, India.
India, Lotta Wilms, Rachel,
Hmm.
Rebecca Clark. There's some very strong female swimmers in this field. Lucy obviously is very strong, but I don't think there's necessarily much to be gained from her going completely. So I don't know. Maybe she will, and that group will ride up to her, and then they'll go together. I'm not sure, but I do stand by that. I think that we'll see Taylor and Lucy come in on the bike, if not together, very close.
Yeah. Referencing what you said about Laura Philipp, I think we can't underestimate the desire as well to underline her victory in Nice, not only with a victory in Kona to show that she's got the full package, but also a victory against Lucy
Yeah,
in Kona because
yeah.
Lucy wasn't in Nice. And I think that will play a big part in why she's going to win this race.
I mean, third place in 2023 in Ironman Hawaii, fourth place in 2022 Ironman Hawaii, fourth place in 2019 Ironman Hawaii, and before that, I don't think she was doing Ironman. So again, very
So
strong
she's
podium
made
or
the
there.
deposits, mate. She's got the experience you speak of. She's also now, well, obviously, world champion following Nice. I really think that she is going to be there or thereabouts and have enough in the tank on the run to get ourselves to the front and pass a Lucy Charles-Barclay who may have slightly overcooked herself on the bike.
Do you Okay, let's talk scenarios then, because I touched on it, then we sort of went on a rabbit hole of how we let's name athletes and how we or what we think has to happen for them to win the race. So I've already explained what I think will happen for Lucy Charles to win the race. What do you think needs to happen, or how do you think Laura Phillip wins this race?
Laura Philipp wins the race by the swim deficit not being quite as extreme as it could be,
Okay.
by being in a pack of a chase group on the bike that doesn't maybe doesn't close the gap, but doesn't lose a huge amount of time and stays within touching distance, and then just relying on that really solid run that she's got to get ahead of others in these conditions. It's going to be a race, don't get me wrong. And I am, as I said at the start of this podcast, mate, I'm far from definitive on this because there are so many combinations that could play out and you'd be like, oh yeah, cool.
Hmm.
But if I'm going to put my eggs in a basket, then Laura Philipp is the athlete I think is going to go past Lucy Charles-Barclay on the run. Not quite as extreme a manner as Patrick Lang went past Sam Lalo on the run, but in a similar sort of style.
Do you, do you then think Lucy is scared of them? Do you think Lucy thinks she needs a big gap ahead of Laura and
No, I
Kat?
don't think
No.
Lucy's scared of them. Lucy's long enough in the tooth and has been around the block enough in this sport to not be scared. She knows what she needs to do, and she may well execute and do that. I think to for a 40-year-old bold podcaster in the UK to say Lucy Charles-Barkley scared of them would be bang out of order.
Do you want to know? Because while you were talking, I was actually, I can't remember what the gaps were last time they raced. I've got the 2023 results up. What do you think the gap was between Laura Phillip and Lucy Charles out of the swim? It's pressure. He's thinking.
Yeah,
He's
it is
calculating.
pressure. Um, minute and a half,
7.
7 minutes.
7 minutes.
Oh fucking hell! All right, Jesus, Jesus.
I didn't realize it was that bad either, to be honest. Lucy swam a 49:36. Laura Phillips swam a 56:49. On the bike, Lucy rode a 4:32:29. Laura Phillips rode a 4:35, so she was 3 minutes slower on the bike as well. And then on the run, Laura ran a faster 2:55:24 to Lucy's 2:57:38. So
Yeah.
I think that the gap is going to be I think the gap's going to be pretty big out of the
So you
water
think
again.
that swim gap's going to be unassailable?
Yeah, yeah, I do. I
Once you've put 7 minutes into somebody on the swim, it's almost irrelevant what you do behind.
did you see
Certainly with those
the
with those differences.
practice swim results from earlier this week?
Yeah, I just don't know how seriously they take that. So,
Yeah, I
you know,
know.
pinch
But
of salt.
Lucy was, yeah. I think the scenario for Laura Phillips win is you're right. The swim she has to get in a good pack, and the bike pack has to work. I think if she has, well, I think she's definitely a stronger runner. I think that the 2:55 is still great, but we've seen her literally run at 2:38 this year, which is just to show not only like so much has developed even in the last 2 years. I think that something will have to happen up front. Maybe there's a drafting penalty. Maybe there's, I don't know, like nutritionally, maybe there is a bit of a blow up. I'm not sure, but I think it'll take something to go wrong, probably more. Now let me ask you then this: what gap could she run down if she gets out of transition T2? What gap to Lucy do you think she can catch? I have a number in my
Three to
mind.
5 minutes.
I'd say 2 to 3, and I don't
Okay.
even think that's a guarantee to be honest. Just again based on how like
Yeah,
I'm
don't
not
get me
trying.
wrong. That
Yeah,
2 to 5, the upper limit of what I'm saying is based on Lucy having a bad moment on the run. It's not both of them running their best races.
yeah,
That's why there's a range. Um, yeah, but I mean we're talking here like it's
done
a
thing.
toss up between Laura Philipp and Lucy
No,
Charles-Barclay. There are other athletes in this race.
we're definitely going to add other athletes. That's what I wanted. I want to go through and ask others. I just wanted to say though that I think that I don't want to. I'm not just trying to. I don't. I'm very open to hearing. I'm not just going to keep going Lucy, 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 Lucy. Uh, the athlete that I find it interesting that neither of us has really spoken about. You've spoken about Laura. We've spoken about Lucy. We've mentioned Kat a fair bit, but we've not really spoken much about Taylor Knibb except as an accessory to Lucy's performance. How do you think this race is going to go for Taylor Knibb, and what do you think has to happen for Taylor Knibb to win this race?
She's matched on the swim, she's matched on the bike, and she hasn't got the run. That's the way. That's how I see it. This isn't a few years ago in the WTCS where she was charging away from fields on the bike because she was unmatched. She's matched in the swim. She's matched on the bike, and she hasn't got that run to finish it off. She certainly hasn't done in Kona before, and I don't see a sudden performance. Yeah, I don't know. That's just where my brain's at. I might be wrong, and I'd love to see her take this win. She's great. She's great for the sport. She's a great athlete, and I think she probably deserves this on her mantelpiece at some point. I just don't think
She'll
this is the year for it.
she'll win this race. Like, I would bet lots of money on Taylor Knibb winning this race at some point. I think the big mystery for me around Taylor Knibb, and we spoke about Solveig Loveseth being the unknown. I kind of think Taylor Knibb is a little bit too, because we all have this idea of what Taylor Knibb is going to do. Like we all have based on past performances. This year, I feel like we can't really gauge her performance because from very early it has become apparent this has been her focus. She has done the early race, and yes, she got belted by Cat on the run, to be honest. And then she's done a very small number of T100 events, still won one, and then has sort of been invisible. Like we're not seeing the year that the performance, and that makes me like, why? What is she up to? Because I feel like I don't know. So if I had to say what I think she has to do to win this race, it has to be on the bike. I think that she has to
Yeah,
go,
yeah.
she has to attack. She is she is a much more technical rider than Lucy Charles. Lucy Charles lacks the finesse. Watching her dismount and mount and transition stuff, it hurts my soul. sitting down in transition, the awful dismount she does, like it's horrific. Lucy, Taylor Knibb is an Olympic medalist, very good short course athlete. So there's all those gains to be made. I don't think she will be able to swim with Lucy. I think she will be close. I think Lucy's going to lead out the swim, but I think that she could make a move on the bike. First time she did this race 2 years ago, she was a complete unknown. She didn't know what she was doing. I think she has to attack on the bike and hope it sticks. And then she just has to have a big enough gap. I
Yeah,
don't know
and
how big that
that
gap
attack
is though.
won't stick, I don't think.
Yeah.
Um,
She's
me
the only
about
athlete I think that could though. I think she's the only athlete who could attack and could try to stay. Like, to me, that she's the only one. I'll
No,
say
Lucy
that.
Charles-Barclay's that athlete who could attack and stay away on the bike.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair
But
enough.
what
Fair
I was
enough.
going to say was me a month and a half and ago, me and a month and a half and ago, me and a month a half month, fuck's sake,
A month and
me
a half
and a
ago.
month and a half ago
Yep.
would have said yes. I think the fact that she'd been quiet all year would lead me to believe that she might be coming in hot with a race to have here. But I've learnt my lesson by thinking that about Patrick Lang and putting all my eggs in that basket. And just because you haven't heard from somebody that much and they've been flying under the radar does not mean positivity all 100% of the time. It
It's
could
true.
mean that she's having a bit of a rough year. I don't know. But I think for me, she doesn't, I've said it before, she doesn't have the swim to have a gap on the swim. She has to attack on the bike, as you said. She may well try and attack on the bike. When that attack attempt happens and doesn't get the gap that she needs, she will have cooked her not quite good enough run, even more so than it already is, and she will not be able to stay away. I don't have her in my top five. Who the fuck am I? Who the fuck am I? I don't have her in my top five
You're the
because
sexiest voice in triathlon. Come on, mate.
I
Stop doubting
see,
yourself.
I see her burning the matches as she should on that bike. So much so that she falls out of the top five on the run because she's such a good athlete. She's such a competitive athlete. She has a palmarès that anybody would die for. And so she has to attack. And when she does, quite rightly, I don't see her maintaining that to the end.
Yeah, I still think she could podium. I think she could podium. I think that the gaps could be big enough that I see there being a big gap, T2, like big gaps, T2. And I think that she could just get run down, maybe fourth, maybe. I think definitely top five for me, but I don't think Taylor Knibb will win this race this year. Kat Matthews. We've discussed what we think she's going to do wrong. Sorry, Kat. What do we think Kat has to do to win this race?
Um, Swim deficit not too bad. A really strong bike, gain some time on the front bike pack, possibly catch them, and then rely on her outstanding run to match and beat those at the front. She has an outstanding run. We know that. She's an incredibly strong biker, but she's a really fast runner. We saw that in sub seven, sub eight. We saw how good she is, not only in terms of actual run pace and executing a good run, but mental resilience. She's strong in the head, is Kat Matthews. And I have always said if I'm in a race with somebody that I know, we're just doing the race together, I would rather be chasing than be chased. And 100%, if I had to pick an athlete I wouldn't want to be chasing me in a race, it's
Kat
Kat
Matthews.
Matthews.
Yeah.
Fuck that. She
Fuck
would
that.
she would break me.
Yeah, it'd be terrifying.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like Kat has to back herself, and I think she is the athlete who can do that. I think she has to accept that there's going to be a gap and not kill herself to make it up. But I also don't know that if she does that, how she then wins. I mean, the easy answer is to say back your run, but I just don't know how much of a gap she's going to make up. Like we keep talking about. The other thing that I'm aware of is when Lucy is doing traditionally this well at short course stuff, it normally then means she doesn't put, like I always see Lucy as a bit of a swing. And the unknown that we spoke about earlier is that Lucy is not injured this year. Like she's just it's smooth sailing and she's doing quite well. So that's
Did
the
I
other
hear
like,
something the other day about being a celiac as well?
yeah, that's this, yeah. So I mean, yeah, she's been, I think she's been quite vocal about that for a while, that she's
Yeah,
found out she was a
I
celiac a couple
didn't.
of years
That
ago.
hadn't entered my
Yeah.
subconscious
Yeah. So
consciousness.
now fully, so this is the first time she's actually been able to prepare fully aware of all of the limitations. But
That's really interesting because, that is can be very, very obvious to some people, but it can also be just a really subtle problem that you don't realize, but is absolutely debilitating, but you don't realize quite how debilitating it is. So it'd be really interesting to see how much of a difference that makes because it can be extreme.
I also feel like looking at what Kat Matthews has been doing this week, it's a lot. And I know that there's a lot of pressure on her. I haven't picked her for my top five on the endurance picks. That's not to say I don't think she will finish top five. But
Yeah, for me, it's budgetary.
part of me thinks, part of me thinks that Kat is the sort of athlete who will swing, would rather swing and miss than not swing at all. So I kind of have this expectation that we'll see her risk it all to win. And if the cards mean that she DNFs or finishes outside the top 10, so be it. I I really
Yeah, I
respect that way of
100% agree with
racing.
that. I think she is an athlete who you won't see racing for second place or settling for third place.
Yeah.
She would rather lose it than not win.
Yeah, that's how I see it. Now, there's so many more we could talk about, James. We are really doing well for time. I think we're almost done.
You know what's
Um,
going to happen though?
Tell me.
You know what's actually going to happen?
Yep. Tell me.
India Lee's going to be in the front group out of the swim.
Yep.
She is going to be in that front bike pack, not get dropped. And then she's going to get on the run. Her physiology is going to realize how well suited she is to the Kona heat environmental conditions. And she is going to storm to the win.
I would love to see that. You should put actually, I challenge
You
you.
heard it here first. Hear me
Put a
now,
bet.
quote me later.
Put a bet on that. I will give you
What
some
are we
Patreon
betting?
money. I'll put you some Patreon money on it. We'll find a betting website and we'll put an
I don't
actual
want
punt on it.
another fucking white tri-suit or anything.
No, let's actual bet a cash bet.
Oh, actual bet. Does any betting websites actually do triathlon?
Yeah. They do for the world champs. I'll
I've
find that and
never placed a bet in my life.
I'll put $50 on India Lee to win. I'd love to
Oh,
see
there you
it.
go. And if she wins, we'll half the proceeds, eh?
Yeah, that sounds good. Let me leave that with me. Now, the only thing left for us to do then, mate, we've actually spoken about this for a really long time. It's time for us to give our picks. So, do you want to just do three or do you want to do five? Because it is a world championship.
Let's do five. Top five.
Okay, who is your fifth place?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna be guided by my fantasy picks rather than. Do we have to be guided by? Because if we put our top five, that fifth athlete is only really budgetary, isn't she?
Yeah, fuck the endurance picks. Let's give our actual no budget who we think is gonna what we think is gonna happen with this race. Who's our top five? Fifth place,
Fifth
James Bell.
place. Fifth place. Taylor Knibb.
Okay. Okay. Fifth place, I am gonna pick. Fifth place, I am gonna pick. God, I hate to do this. No, actually, no, I'm gonna go Chelsea Sodaro for fifth place.
Okay.
Fourth place,
Cat Matthews.
Taylor Knibb.
Interesting.
Third
Third
place,
place. You're first on this one.
Solvay Love Seth.
Yeah, same. Same.
And then we're
Matched you.
just gonna. I think we're gonna switch. And then I'm gonna go Laura Phillip, Lucy Charles, Barclay.
I am gonna say Laura Phillip. I'm gonna say India fucking Lee.
Lucy's not even
Something
in your
happens
top
to
five.
Lucy. Something
Wow,
happens to
that's
Lucy.
huge. God.
Something
Okay,
happens to Lucy. I
I
gotta
love
do it.
it.
Just because this one year it might happen.
I love it. I mean, yeah, I think you're wrong. Not because
I
I don't
know.
love
I think I
India,
might be
but
wrong as well. But
I love
imagine.
it.
Just just imagine. Just imagine. Because
The
I
other
got
one,
to, I've backed her so many times in so many
yeah.
races, and the times that I haven't, she's come through. The times that I have, and I just can't. I can't not. Come on, Indy. Let's fucking
Lisa
go.
Lisa Patera is also the one that I just don't know. I think she could. podium. I don't think she'll win it, but I think she could do very, very, very well. And that's mostly based on, again, a string of very strong performances, but also
Yeah, I mean, there are
second
other
place in
athletes on
Singapore.
this list who I think will have a really strong performance, a solid top 7 to 8. Like Anna Reichmann, I think she will do really well. I've got a feeling about her and Marjolaine Pierre as well. I think she'll come into this race and have a good race. Um, and I'd like to see Tamara Jewett do well because she's an athlete whose name I haven't heard much of recently, but I've got a lot of time for.
I do like her, but I don't think we'll see a feature. Holly Lawrence, obviously, I hope she's all good. I'd love to see. And I mean, the other one that I absolutely love and would love to see just have a good race is Sky Monch. First race back.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Sky, Holly, all of those names, I'd love to see them do well. Um, it's going to be really exciting, and yeah, I'll be watching.
Well, Jimbo, it's up. That's it. We're done. All that is left to do is watch the race. If people want to find out more about Talking Triathlon, what do they need to do?
If you want to support the show, jump on at patreon.com/talking triathlon. If you want to follow Tim, he's at tford14 on Instagram, and I'm at bale.james85 on Instagram. Find us across, we're on Instagram as at Talking Triathlon. We're not on Twitter because it sucks. If you want to join the Patreon group, which you really should before this weekend, because like I said before, it amplifies and enhances the race watching experience. You'll get access to the WhatsApp group, the monthly bonus episodes, the social group. We'll have a really interesting monthly bonus episode this month because not only will it be Kona, but we've also got some other things to talk about. But if you're not a member of the Patreon group and you want to add a comment or get in touch, then YouTube is probably the best place to do that. Some really insightful and interesting comments on last week's show, and hopefully the same this week. Basically, it's just gonna be people giving me a bollocking for not putting Lucy in my top 5 and being an idiot. But
No, I love it. It makes variety's the spice of life. It'd be a very boring show if we just agreed on everything. Again, Jimbo, thank you very much. Very excited to watch this race unfold this weekend. It has been my most anticipated event of the year, and I think it just speaks to like the quality of women's sport in general. I am so pumped for this race, more excited than I was for the men's race, and yeah, looking forward to fireworks. And next week we will find out how we went. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk to you later.
cheerio.